listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome one and all. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada on the Mutual Broadcast Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, and across Europe on Radio X. Our email address, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, and all social media sites. Whoa! Are you okay over there?
I'm fine here. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can. I thought I heard you fall off your chair.
No, not at all.
Okay. If you'd like to find us on any social media network, X-Zone Radio TV, and our main website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is a young lady we've had the pleasure of having on the show many times. She is a good friend of the X-Zone. Some people call her CC. Some people call her KO. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint who she is. She is part of Warner Brothers' motion picture history with her contribution to the 40th anniversary of The Exorcist DVD on Blu-ray. She travels the globe representing the paranormal industry. By the way, I only learned about 5 minutes ago that today is Paranormal Day. And to all of our listeners around the world, happy Paranormal Day. What will Hallmark think of next? Cece Carroll recently became a super heroine with her own Queen of Paranormal persona being featured in a brand new comic series called Haunted Tales of Bachelor Grove by Silver Phoenix Comic Publications due out this August. Now, Queen of the Paranormal Has a as a pulp culture icon, actress, author, radio, TV personality, part of the Exorcist legacy, humanitarian, and 5-time Paranormal Awards winner, has made her mark with her vast expertise hunting with crew members of popular TV shows such as Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International, to name a few. She is considered one of the best in the paranormal field with over 38 years of experience. Joining me now here in the X Zone is the one and only, and I'm sorry, I'm going to revert to the one that I know and love, Cece Carroll. Cece, welcome back to the X Zone.
How are you doing, baby?
I'm doing great. Congratulations on all the wonderful things you're doing, because it is so nice to know that there's someone with credibility out there doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's been a long road. It's been an exciting road. It's something that I have done all my life, and I do it for kicks and giggles as well.
Tell me about the connection between Cece Carroll and The Exorcist legacy.
Well, what we did was it started, we're looking at about 12 years ago now, when a gentleman owned a series of reel-to-reel tapes, and they were an interview series with Mike Siegel and Father Gallagher, who mentored William Peter Blatty, who wrote the book The Exorcist. Mm-hmm. And so these interview tapes had the Father Gallagher showing us the bishop's files and reading the bishop's files. So I had an idea. Why don't I take the original movie, The Exorcist, and match it up with what Father Gallagher is saying to see how many times we can come up with consistency from Hollywood to what actually happened. And so we test marketed it for about 2 years. And then Bob Boyd and Mike Siegel, they approached Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers bought 20 minutes of it. And if you go to the director's cut and actually look at this, it's all my work. It's just that they kind of blitzed it up Hollywood style, more professional editing and whatnot. But that idea was mine, and therefore that staked my claim in, I guess, history as far as being part of the Exorcist legacy.
All right, my spooky young friend, stand by. You and I have to take our first break. And when we come back, more from the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology with my guest this hour, Cece Carroll. Now, don't forget, X-Zone Nation, our times change coming up on May the 16th. We will be live from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. Eastern. Then the show that we do from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. is going to be repeated in its entirety through our networks from 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. The Saturday and Sunday schedules remain the same. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we'll both be back on the other side as we continue investigating the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Mutual Broadcast Network, the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and across Europe on Radio X. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses a quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Wilda Wieka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we will weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Wilda Wieka, and the Science of Magic right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Starr began to demonstrate a metaphysical connection to the spirit world as a little girl. Her family noticed the connection, but it was a great-grandmother who told the family that Linnea was indeed gifted. The great-grandmother, who was also gifted, felt that Linnea had indeed inherited these attributes. It has been noticed that oftentimes such things are passed down through the generations. Linnea was also born with a caul, a thin white membrane across a newborn's face. Legend has it that if the baby is born with this caul, the child will have second sight, or what we call psychic abilities. Linnea Starr does past, present, and future, and has the gift of prophecy. It is written within scriptures that if you are able to give factual information, and prophecies indeed come true, the gift indeed comes from the divine realm. Linnea Starr does large interactive groups as well as private gatherings. For more information on Linnea Starr or to contact Linnea for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website at www.linneastar.com. That's www.linneastar.com. Cece Carroll is our special guest this hour. She is known as how do you say that?
KADROLSHA ONA, which just means Carolyn Ann. And so therefore, when we were doing the Cece the Huntress shows, no one could pronounce the name. So we decided just to go with Carolyn Ann shortened. We just said Cece and it stuck. And then when I started in the the bigger realms of Comic-Cons and traveling, they kind of wanted, because it's the Queen of Paranormal, now that's trademarked under my name, they wanted something that sounded like it was from Transylvania. And I'm like, I don't want to make up anything like that. I'm not that way. So I went with my name that my grandparents gave me because we're Polish. I was brought up in a bilingual household, and I'm called to this day KADROLSHA for my entire family. So I just went with the name that everybody uses that no one can pronounce. It sounded good.
Yeah, it still does. It still does. You're called the Queen of the Paranormal, and I've been dubbed the Donald Trump of the media. So there you go.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, and you know the funny thing too, Don, is that I never made that name up. I had a gentleman had called into a radio show in 2005 and said he dubbed me the Queen of the Paranormal, and I said, you know what, I really like that. I'm keeping it, and I did. You know, but I didn't make it up. This guy called it. That's cool.
Now, so tell us more about the Exorcist, because you know that is one of the iconic movies that have brought so many people to the world of the paranormal.
Right. The Exorcist was a horror film, but it also had paranormal in it. So it was kind of like a twofer, you know, with all the characters. There was a lot of, from what I had heard, and even speaking with Linda Blair, I know her very well. In fact, I support her foundation for animals too, as she supports mine. And there was a lot of bad things happening on that set. People passed away. The set burned down. She hurt her back really bad. A lot of things happening. But to go on to these tapes that we had, just trying to edit the footage was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And well, audio and video come together. And in order to work with them separately, you have to make a move on an editing machine to separate them. Well, we never made that move. We wanted to move everything in its entirety to edit it that way. And whenever we burnt a disc for display for a show or marketing research, all of the words and the video didn't fit each other. We must have did it like 20 times, and it was getting so frustrating that we finally got sort of a nice representation for an event we were doing. And we ended up going off the road with the car because the tire blew out. I thought the gentleman I was with, Bob Boyd, was going to have a heart attack. He started sweating profusely. I got sick, all to try to, I guess, stop us from having this type of product revealed to the public. So what we did was we hid the tapes, the reel-to-reel and the DVDs, and put them away properly, and so they wouldn't bother us or anybody else anymore until Hollywood wants to make another movie.
How real was The Exorcist? Because, Hollywood loves to embellish the viewers and take so much out of context. How, how credible was The Exorcist movie compared to the actual events?
Well, the actual events were a combination of 3 to 4, and I say to 4 because that was also interjected, but a solid 3, documented exorcisms, and they were based on a boy, not a girl. So Hollywood changed it to a girl, I guess, for a more sympathetic plight. Like that in the 70s. So it went from a boy to a girl. Some of the events, if you look at the director's cut and Father Gallagher, they were very consistent. Like you unclean spirits, the priest would say, and that's exactly what Father Gallagher said is recited in the bishop's files. And it went back and forth, and no one turned their head around. That was Hollywood. Yeah. And the bishop's file has over 70 witnesses per exorcism. That's how rare these things are. You have to really have your witness statements, have them written down before you can go in and have somebody perform an exorcism. Nowadays, everyone's contaminated with a demon. They want to be exorcised somehow. I usually tell these people, call the 5 o'clock news, and their head should still be spinning around and books coming off the shelf. By the time they get there, then you have your documentation and all your witness statements with people watching it live on TV.
But
that's how rare these things are. So as far as the Exorcist movie itself, mimicking the bishop's files, it was very few incidents. That's it.
Now, over the past couple of months, we have featured paranormal investigators, and I think each and every week we've had at least 4 so-called demonologist exorcists as part of these group. And I think that Hollywood has spurred a psychosomatic group of demons out there, because when it comes to credibility, I don't give these internet exorcists any credibility whatsoever.
No, exorcisms were really performed by laymen. I mean, this goes back thousands of years, and then it turned into a church thing because the church felt it could get some money. It was a monetary thing, and so nowadays it's usually performed by a church if it is religiously based. Now, if you have an exorcism that you have to do that's non-religious, well, you would want somebody like a Hans Holzer, that type of person, to come to do that type of exorcism. But they're both basically the same. One just prefers the religious end. And so that's why I trained to be a reverend and minister, so I could have more knowledge when it came to performing exorcisms, doing them the right way for either or. And all my years of being involved in not only paranormal investigations, but consulting to teams, I have never once came across a demon. not even a demonic spirit. I've come across some badass things, but that's about it.
You know, if I was to be at an exorcism where Hans Holzer walked into that room, I would faint since he's been dead for a while.
Oh, I would not. Call me up, please.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, you've been in the industry, and let's face it, the paranormal these days is an industry.
Yes, it is.
You know, we've got so many so-called reality TV shows that if I had my way, I'd knock them all off the air because they're nothing but a bunch of bunk, excluding yours.
Thank you.
You know, UFO files, Bigfoot. And I can't believe the amount of people that are actually buying into all this stuff.
You know what I think it is? I think it's more of a numbing of the mind before you go to bed type of syndrome. People used to sit and read books before they went to bed. Now they watch mindless television shows with no credibility. I mean, even the paranormal shows, they're shot between 5 and 8 days in a row with the same clothes on. And what I had to do, because I was a girl, and they're making it look like one night, because I was a woman doing this, I shot everything live to tape except for the documentary part, which was steeped in history. And you can see the camera's over my shoulder. We're showing the pictures, doing instant EVPs, everything instant, real time for people. And that's what makes me a little bit different. You know, I'm not changing my clothes or coming back to it the next day, or anything like that. So it's all done when the tape runs out. It's over.
But what is the way that, the new sprung production houses who start off with a very, very, very thin budget. I think I was talking to one producer. He started his company. He borrowed $15,000 from his family so he could buy a camera, a light kit, and green screen and software. But when it comes to the people who are now watching it, who want to get involved in the paranormal hype, what do all these so-called reality TV programs do to the professionals who have paid their dues? Now, are these TV shows an asset or a hindrance?
Well, I'm going to have to tell you, I believe at times they're an asset because they stir the senses and stimulate the senses of people that may want to venture into the field of the paranormal. At that point, they're watching, they're interested, they may go to a few lectures, they may go on a organized event, ghost hunting, to kind of whet their palate. And then at that point, if they're serious, my recommendations are don't watch the shows anymore. Don't, because it's not reality. Again, it's not depicting reality. It's rushed into like a 1-hour format. And ghost hunting takes time, patience, and a lot of time and a lot of patience. And it's different. It's just way different. You have to know a lot. I believe this is one of the only industries that you can, as you age, you become better because you know all of you know how to discern different things and variables before they even show up. You're familiar with it and you know how to handle these situations.
Plus, you're gaining valuable experience from the School of Hard Knocks.
Right, and the thing is, you should get a mentoring thing. I mean, put it this way: you want some guy out of med school to do open heart surgery on you. He's been out of med school 2 to 5 years, or you want somebody 15 to 20 years that's a heart surgeon that has seen everything come down the pike and can predict, can save your life, and make you well again. My bet's on a 15, 20-year-old expert, personally. Not some guy with 2 to 5 years that thinks he's a demonologist and I don't know what's giving certificates out online.
But we're not even talking years now. I was talking to a couple of people the other day that they decided to do it one night while they were sitting at a bar somewhere in Oklahoma.
Oh,
and
great.
That night they went home and they got a website up and, they went online and ordered a couple of these certificates saying they're demonologists. And they started going out the next day with no experience whatsoever because they read how to do it on the internet.
Well, that's the fault of the client themselves. It's not only the demonologist or ghost hunting group that needs to cull their information properly. It's also the client themselves need to investigate the demonologist or the paranormal group. I mean, I'm all into getting them bonded. It's like inviting strangers into your home. They don't want you in there, so you go shopping, you come back, and you have your possessions missing. I mean, this is reality. You don't know these people.
That's right.
You don't know. Do a background check.
Hey, Cece. Cece, I hate to do this, dear, but I've got to take my news break here. Exo Nation, Cece Carroll is our special guest. We're talking about, oh my gosh, so many wonderful things in the paranormal. When we come back, we'll let you know how you can find out more about Cece online. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Thomas Jefferson was a Burgess of 27 when he met Martha Wales Skelton, a 22-year-old widowed heiress who was fondly called Patty by her family. They were married on January the 1st, 1772, and they took up residence in a cabin on the building site on top of a Virginia mountain that Thomas had named Monticello. As Thomas and Patty slowly built their first version of the great house at Monticello, the Revolutionary War was heating up. Patty, with difficulty, bore 5 children, but only 2 girls survived. Thomas's political career developed to the point where he was often away from home, but after he authored and signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, he resolved never again to leave his wife. He was elected the governor of Virginia, just as that state became the Revolution's last battleground. The Revolutionary War ended in 1781, and Thomas gladly retired altogether to my family, my farm, and my books. But Patty continued to want to bear her treasured husband a son, and late in the summer of 1782, she died of kidney failure at the age of 33, 4 months after having borne yet another girl. Thomas was so devastated by her death that he never remarried. He mourned her for the rest of his life, even as he helped to frame the peace in France and then became the first Secretary of State, the second Vice President, and the third President of the United States. This story is true. Thomas Jefferson was such an obsessive letter writer and record keeper that we know where he was and what he was doing nearly every day of his adult life. Every significant thing he says in My Thomas comes from his contemporary writings. My Thomas by Roberta Grimes is now available at Barnes & Noble, Costco, Target, Books A Million, Hudson Booksellers, Kmart, Walmart, Sam's Club, Walgreens, CVS, and online at Amazon.com. You can visit Roberta Grimes online at www.robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State-certified occupational school, training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerrean intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com. You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Annie Callahan, dedicated to negotiating a position for Earth within the Daguerrean Coalition, had trained for 3 years to become an Earth ambassador. Yet, the very eve of her arrival at the capital ruling planet, she is claimed as destined mate to an oversized, mating-maddened vamp who swears he will never release her. Lord Aztaran, king of the Macian sector, has waited over 900 years for his destined mate. Having found her as an alpha vamp, he is unable to relinquish Annie, virtually holding her hostage until he can claim her. Yet Macians cannot survive without their mate's love. How could he strip her of her citizenship, her ambassadorship, and her freedom and expect to win her heart? With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is the latest book in this exciting series, The Daguerrean Chronicles, guaranteed to keep readers coming back for more. With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is available on Amazon.com and KahiraO'Donnell.com. Welcome back, everyone. Cece Carroll is our special guest this hour. Her website is queenoftheparanormal.com. Cece, what has been your most memorable investigation that you've worked on?
My most memorable would have to be the Hoosac Tunnel, which is situated right smack dab in the middle of the Hoosic mountain range from Deerfield, from North Adams, Massachusetts to Orange, Massachusetts. No, not Orange, Florida. Sorry. I'm thinking Florida, the orange juice. You know.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Massachusetts. It's a 5-mile tunnel right through the mountain range, all granite, and many people died in the building of this train tunnel. And we had some things that happened that were completely unexplainable. We tried science, we tried everything to think of what happened. For instance, we were told, we were the first people with permission to go through the tunnel start to finish. Ghost hunters, ghost adventures, no one got permission, but I did. I got it because I keep the integrity of the facility. I don't scream and yell about, did you hear that?
Yeah.
And run out of the building. I'm not running 5 miles, number one. I wouldn't mind walking it like we did. Run it.
You and me both.
So we were in there, and they said absolutely no trains were scheduled, and by God, there were 2, and I just don't even know where they came from. You couldn't hear a sound, and all of a sudden they were right on top of you. And we had to shove ourselves in these little compartments on the side of the granite walls. It was amazing.
Wow. Maybe you can help me understand something, because you are the queen of the paranormal. Why do ghosts or spirits hang around? One of the explanations I get told all the time is that they don't know they're dead.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Yeah. and I kind of, because it bamboozles me, because here the researchers are saying that this is an intelligent being, intelligence entity. And I'm saying, well, geez, if I wake up one day, or I come to one day, and nobody can see me, nobody can talk to me, I'm not hungry, I don't want to go to sleep, I look in a mirror, I'm not there, I would think something is up.
If they're so intelligent, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I have an idea, and I've been kind of, talking about it, because I guess in reality, nobody really knows, so they just have their own personal opinions.
Right.
But I would say spirits that like to stay around or come and go, I don't think they're lost. I don't think they're waiting in purgatory. I think what has happened is just like my grandmother, my babcha. I can pray to her and call her, and I can feel her, and there she is. And yourself from relatives that have passed away. Geez, you pray for guidance and advice, and they're there. They're there, like rooting you on. Well, that's kind of like a dog that just comes and goes. Like you can drop a dog off somewhere, that doesn't mean it's not coming back. Our relatives are the same way. They come back when you need them, and then they go. And these people, sometimes maybe they just need to be validated, because energy always remains. That's what everyone says. That's why we have this fancy equipment. Yeah. Energy remains. So how do you tap into that energy that remains? That's where I come in. I teach people how to tap into it. And many people believe once you're dead, and that's it. Well, I believe, okay, sure, your body's dead, but the energy remains. Let's see if we can tap into this. And then that's why these people are the souls or the spirits or the energy. It's wandering around trying to get familiar with their family again, and the family doesn't know how to tap into that, because their belief is when you're dead, you're dead. Bury them, walk away, like that. But sure. I believe that we try to tap into that energy and see if we can communicate.
What about when people have dreams of their loved ones who have passed? Is this a way that the other side tries to communicate with those who are still left behind?
You know what? Maybe at times. Sometimes dreams are just that, dreams. Things you've thought about all day, last month, all decide to come and appear in one day. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a relative that's coming to you to give you some secret message. It just means you're having a nice dream. But there are times that are unexplainable where you have a dream that's so real, and that relative tells you, look at point blank, do this or that will happen. And there you are, ignoring the advice, and then this horrible thing happens. So I think very rarely they'll come through, and they will try to help you that way through a dream.
When you're doing an investigation, you said that you use a lot of equipment. What is your favorite piece of equipment when doing an investigation?
My body, my hands. I like to see where I can feel
Right.
energy that ebbs and flows. Don't let it trick you. Same thing with EMF meters or any other electrical meter you may use. We're all detecting the energy. What people forget is in New England and in Canada, a lot of the old walls in these inns and homes are made with horsehair plaster and a calcination process with lime from a quarry. They make it into quicklime, and they mix it with horsehair plaster. How do you know the concentration of the quicklime? Because lime is like a battery. It gives a lot of energy off that it'll make your equipment not run right. You have to kind of test that and know about this before you go into building. The other thing is we have ebbs and flows in our atmosphere, which are naturally happening every single day. That does not mean when your equipment goes off, you have a ghost. Absolutely. It just means you might have hit a very high ebb in the energy field that you have every day in our atmosphere. That's all. And my best thing is to just, if you're going to get your equipment to work or you think you have a ghost there, ask the ghost to do it again. Can you make this light up? Can you make this shut off? Can you turn the flashlight on with a command? Because of course, you hope they have intelligence, and if they do, well, then they should listen to you and be able to do these things.
All right, Kay.
And that you have something unexplainable.
CC, I'd just like to cut in here. We're just following the presidential candidate results out of Indiana, and
good.
Yeah, and a campaign source close to in the Ted Cruz camp is saying that Ted Cruz is going to be dropping out of the presidential race because Donald Trump has won the entire state of Indiana.
Okay, all right.
So there you go, Exo Nation. I know that we've got a number of listeners who are probably saying, "Come on, Rob, come on." Yeah, well, you know how it is. Well, there you go. Talk about being paranormal. Wow.
Well, that's it. Politics and paranormal, one and the same.
Exactly.
Borders reality.
When it comes to the spirit world, I always look at life and death. That we should watch Mother Nature, pay closer attention to Mother Nature, because she has been showing us since the beginning of time what will happen and what is happening. And when you see, for example, the butterfly, starts off as a caterpillar,
yes,
goes into the cocoon, and this is called the metamorphosis period. And I believe when it comes to humans, we call it death. And when the caterpillar turns to a butterfly, it emerges out of the cocoon. And I believe that when a person passes, we go through a metamorphosis where we lose our body, and we emerge into the into the other side as pure energy or spirit. It's just a continuation. It's just a continuation of existence.
I like that. And you know what? I'm going to use that and credit you for it.
Thank you.
I like that explanation. That's very palatable and very easy for parents and children to understand, equating it to the butterfly. I do like that.
Once again, nature, she's been teaching us since the beginning of time, and I really believe that the new grass movements when it comes to the ecology of the earth, saving the whales, the great work that other people are doing when it comes to the animals that we share this planet with. We need to take more care. We need to take more notice. And something that a lot of people don't agree with me, CC, is when I say that science puts us at the top of the totem pole in the animal kingdom. In my opinion, we should be at the bottom, because the other animals that we share this planet with, they do not cause wars. They do not cause they don't manufacture disease. They don't contribute to the pollution of this planet. And they don't fight with each other for no reason.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, talk about getting off topic of the paranormal. How did that happen? I don't know.
Well, it's because it's paranormal.
It is, yeah. Let me ask you something about spirits. Do you treat all spirits the same way?
Do you treat all people the same way? I mean,
I
that's
try
basically
to.
what you're saying. I try to look at them as the energy without the body, and I talk to them as if they're alive. And if I feel like someone's resisting or someone's being not so nice, then I might speak a little firmer. But basically, all the same, sure.
Mm-hmm. So where does the concept of the evil spirits come from? Now, you said that you like, have you ever been attacked by a ghost or a spirit?
No.
Scratched, bitten, punched,
scratched. They have fingernails.
Yeah.
Wow, this is getting good.
Yeah. And once again, when I hear this, and I just ask, or I should say, I challenge the investigators. Well, how can something that cannot be seen, has no mass, has no density, how can they physically scratch you, bite you, push you?
I don't think so. Yeah, I've never had that happen. What I've had happen was, and I would equate it to the energy. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the energy gets so hot that it might be like surgery with a laser.
Okay.
And so maybe that energy just kind of impeded on your skin, and you just got kind of like nicked or touched by a high frequency of energy coming from or emitting from this type of energy source that we like to call spirits or ghosts. As far as, I see a lot of people saying that, my child was scratched, my child woke up with bruises. Mm-hmm. Immediately, I would call social services because that's not happening. That's called, and I would say 99.9% of the time, it's Munchausen's syndrome by proxy. The parents want attention. They're using the children somehow. Or the child's doing it himself because the parents kind of like the placebo effect, like putting it in their brain. As far as, evil spirits, I mean, if you supposedly, your energy retains your personality and intellect, you're going to have a lot of rotten people out there in the spirit world, let's face it.
Sure.
So you're going to come across some badass spirits, that's what I call them. I know they could be murderers, they could be insane, they could be child molesters, and I always prepare women and young girls and boys to the fact that 85% of them are the ones being touched inappropriately on ghost hunts or walks through cemeteries, and nobody says anything. They'll come to you later and tell you, like in a month or two.
Wow.
But I always tell people that, because we don't know who these spirits belong to. It could be a child molester, and they're going to be doing the same thing, and you need to call them out in public, like that's what you're told to do. And so I've lectured on this topic many times regarding badass spirits and how to cope with them and how to deal with them.
How do you prepare yourself when you are going in to do a paranormal investigation? Do you bless yourself? Do you say a prayer? Do you surround yourself with a white light? Or do you just go in as C.C. Carroll, the queen of the paranormal, and say, come on, bring it on?
Well, I like to pack hand grenades myself. What I like to do when I do these things is I always pray. I do a lot of healings, spiritual healings or energy healings, and they're all based as far as my belief system. And I'm a Christian, so I have my belief system. Somebody might have their own higher power, but we all have a higher power. And I tell people just to kind of pray to your higher power, bow your head, say a few words to your higher power for safety. I do put like a white circle around myself, going clockwise, and I also bring my sprays in case somebody feels they might need psychological reinforcement. And I like to put it that way. And, so everybody can enjoy themselves. But I do not feel that there is a ghost out there that's going to attach himself to you or be like a badass thing and come home with you, or possess you if you don't have if you have a doubt in your belief system, then it'll get in. But if you don't have a doubt and you're rooted well, it has no space to get in.
Whenever we watch the movies from Hollywood again, the priest has a crucifix, holy water. How effective are these when it comes to badass spirits? Or is this just, once again, Hollywood embellishing?
Well, I wouldn't say it's definitely Hollywood embellishing, but I wouldn't say that they don't serve any purpose, because they do. They've dug up coffins from vampires, and people have stakes and crosses shoved through their hearts and wherever, and they're in skeleton form. So yeah, it does serve a purpose.
Yeah. But
we don't know with these priests, for one thing, if they're doing exorcisms. I don't think they know if they're doing or these demonologists, from the certificate department on the internet, if they even know that they're doing a religious exorcism or a non-religious exorcism. You've got to get that basis down first. Because if you have a cross and you're dealing with a badass spirit with a non-religious belief system, they're just going to laugh at you, That it's just not going to work. And then they think they're dealing with the devil because it's not working.
Casey, hold on for a sec.
Sure.
Exonation, we're just getting word in from the CNN newsroom that Ted Cruz has officially dropped out of the presidential candidacy race. So that's official now. Ted Cruz has dropped out of the presidential race. So now it's between Donald Trump and Kasich, and I don't think Kasich is going to have any effect on. Whoa! What are you doing there, Casey? Cece?
Writing something.
Okay, because it's really coming loud here on the.
I'm sorry,
on the other
not
side.
a problem.
All right, Casey and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone. Once again, X Zone Nation, the news of the hour is Ted Cruz has dropped out of the presidential race. I'll be back on the other side with Cece Carroll. Her website is queenoftheparanormal.com. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. If you enjoy reading a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love From Out of the Woodwork by William S. Peckham. Sean Kennedy, a Toronto contractor, buys derelict houses, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, a century house in ruins, and starts the renovation, the house fights back. He is visited by ghosts of owners past. His visions are triggered by touching an oak mantle, reading a faded letter,
opening an old locket, or opening a brand new casket in the basement. These visions will take you on a trip across southern Ontario from Niagara Falls to Toronto to Kingston. From Out of the Woodwork is now available in paperback and on your favorite electronic reader. To order your copy of From Out of the Woodwork, go to www.williamspeckham.com. That's www.williamspeckham.com. Exonation, Cece Carroll is with us. Her website is queenoftheparanormal.com. And Cece, congratulations on everything that you are doing, my dear friend. You are the hardest working media person in the world of the paranormal that I know. But tell us more about the superheroine status.
This is a fun project. 2 years ago, I started off doing Comic-Cons. I started with Chiller Theater, like the top one, the big one, like the big kahuna. Woo! And the whole paranormal industry just went, how did that happen? Well, it happened because I really actually do this for a living. I'm not a weekend warrior. Mm-hmm. I actually do this. I've done it for many years, and I'm well researched and educated in the field. So they picked me to do it. Anyways, I was asked at one of the Comic-Cons by a gentleman that they own Silver Phoenix publishing company for comic books, if I would be interested in doing a comic book based on what I actually do. And I do a lot of healing. I do a lot of praying, a lot of healing. I rescue animals and the list of things. And then also have a moral at the end of the story, for parents and children alike, that, we can fight the bad, but we can champion the weak as well. Right. And I wanted the character to be, I'm not going to say less sexy, but I didn't want her everything she owns hanging out of the costume. So we designed the costume to be very family friendly, and also the KADROLSHA ONA, Queen of the Paranormal script is very family friendly as well, action packed, which is great. But the first one I'll be featured in is a book called The Haunting Tales of Bachelor's Grove. Now, this is an actual place in Indiana, which makes it even more fascinating, because now you have people that are going to want to go there. And these are the stories that come from that Bachelor's Grove, with the pond and psychopath people and demons and just all this kind of things, and angels, and how to deal and summons a lot of people around you to help fight the evil forces, and to know that evil will never prevail, and that's always the moral of the story.
What are your final thoughts, Cece, tonight that you can share with the members of the X-Zone Nation?
Well, my final thoughts would be to get to know your neighbors better. Be nicer to people. Smile more often. Life is so short to be miserable that you just do something nice. And like I said, if you can't give money, just a pat on the shoulder, a nice smile, and watch them smile back. I think that's well worth it.
Cece, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show and sharing the information that you have. Continued success, and I look forward to the next time that you join us back here in the X-Zone. Until then, my friend, stay well and stay safe.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, X-Zone Nation, that was Cece Carroll. Her website is queenoftheparanormal.com. As we've been reporting this hour, Ted Cruz is officially out of the presidential race. On the Republican side, that in itself is paranormal. Here you've got somebody who was not a Washington insider, and I'm talking about Donald Trump, who basically showed the people, the American people, that the system does work, and it is a system for the people, by the people. And congratulations to Mr. Trump. And Ted, I'd like to say sorry to see you go, but I agreed with Speaker Boner that Lucifer in the skin. We'll be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away. We'll be back.